Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tomorrow's Weather Today. I'm Jacob, and today we will be talking about a potential warm-up for most of the United States where temperatures will be likely above average. And we'll take a look at three different models. We'll take a look at the GFS, the Canadian, the CMC, and the European, the ECMWF. For today, and we're going to start off at the CPC website, the Climate Prediction Center. They forecast temperatures, precipitation, and they have a drought monitor. Um, so to begin, we can look at the 6 to 10 day outlook for temperatures, and we can see for most of the U.S. we have above average temperatures expected, especially in the west where it's very likely. But Texas is going to be the outlier of the United States with temperatures that are likely to be below average by a few degrees, and part of Michigan is probably going to be around normal for this time of year. Looking at precipitation, most of the United States is going to be wet, above average precipitation for the next 6 to 10 days. Um, but it's going to be dry for the upper plains and the Midwest, while the East and the South are going to be wet for the next 6 to 10 days. Moving ahead to the 8 to 14 days, again, same story for Texas. This is May 31st through June 6th. This was actually made yesterday. Um, I don't necessarily agree with the East by looking at the models, um, but they know better than I do. But they're still calling for this ridge out in the west and northern United States. Temperatures and precipitation the below average precipitation extends east while moisture builds in to the west and the south stays um, pretty wet. For the month of June, they are calling for above average temperatures for everywhere but the middle United States. So the west, the south, and the east um, will be having above average temperatures likely. And part of the Rust Belt, it's a toss-up for the Rust Belt, where we could be seeing above average temperatures, or we could be seeing average temperatures. And for summer, same story. This is through August. Um, Above average temperatures basically for everywhere except for the same spots where they have an equal chance of being both above and below average temperatures. So starting off at the GFS model, the 12Z run coming out right now. Um, there's still a few more forecast hours to go, but we are just going to take it. So right now we can see we have below average temperatures in the west and above average for the east. Um, but if we take this ahead, we can see that this below average temperatures dive southward over Texas, um, like we said, were going to happen, and then we got the warmth building in to the west and some warmth building in to the east. Keeping it ahead, there's a chance for a couple days that some cold temperatures move into the United States and move eastward. But this ridging and above average temperatures, at least 10 degrees above average, um, is looking likely. Um, like I said, so this is the 31st where this cold air moves into the east, and it kind of stays for it's just a day or day and a half of below average temperatures, um, and then above average temperatures return according to the GFS for a lot. And take a notice to this cold pool. We will see that on the CMC, but it will be farther south, so that detail's still being worked out. To me, I guess that's what that's what the CPC is saying about the chance for below average temperatures for the 8 to 14 days, because right now we are um, about 12 days ish out here, and some cold temperatures may return to the west. but you can see the GFS is flip-flopping on that, and so is the flip-flopping in the northeast as well. But moving it ahead, it's looking like above average temperatures for most of the time, and then it looks like a cold front might try to slide through, but that's looking brand new. So, moving on to the CMC, we are looking at the 850 millibar temps, by the way, not the temps at the ground, but about 5,000 feet up, because they are less prone to daytime heating, and other processes at the surface. And this gives you a better idea of what's actually going on with temperatures overall. So looking at the Canadian 500 or 850 millibar temps, we can see again cold in the west, warm in the east, and then we move that ahead, and that cold pool comes over Texas, and then the ridging builds into the east or into the west, and the warm temperatures in the east as well. And then here's that first shot of cooler air. I'm not going to say colder. I want to say cooler. And the ridging out in the west. And that comes out after a day. And see how the CMC wants to bring this this farther south. So this is at 222. If we go back to here at 222. Actually, it's actually late. The GFS is later, slower with that. With that cold shot, and then at the end of this run, this only goes out 10 days. It's still a little below average. Going to the European. Once again, cold in the west, warm in the east for right now. Moving that ahead, we can see that those below average temperatures dive southward into Texas, stay around. Basically warm air for everywhere else. It's warmer in the west, looking 5 to 15, while in the east 5 to 10-ish degrees above average. Here's that first shot. Not looking as bad on the European, but it is lasting longer. That's some warm air right there. It's lasting longer on the European. So it's 10 days out, so it's something to look at, but it's not necessarily set in stone. Let's go to the 500 millibar height and vorticity on this model, which we're not. I want to go to here on the GFS, the 500 millibar height anomalies. They don't have that on the European or on pivotal weather, but we'll make do with it. So we can see the reason why we have the cold air over Texas is this upper level low that's going to be sitting over there, and you can see we have some ridging everywhere else. Here's our high pressure right here with clockwise spin around it. So moving it ahead, that upper level low stays over, and here's our shot of cold air right here. For the east, but then it looks like ridging is going to try to start to build in into the east. Looking at the GFS 500 millibar height anomalies, you can see the reason for that cold air over the west right now, and here's that upper level low. Here's our ridge building in, and here's our really strong ridge building into the east. Bringing warm temperatures, and that's going to basically stay for the most part. And the reds do represent higher heights at 500 millibars, so basically that's going to allow for more warm air, and the blue is sinking air for colder temperatures. So moving it ahead, this ridge basically, so on May 31st, here's our trough that comes in, which is going to bring the colder air. And then here's our second one up here that doesn't really dive so far south because this ridge is really strong and building in. And that ridge basically stays for the most part. The CMC, I'm pretty sure they have it. Yes. So let's take a quick look at this, and then I will wrap up this video. So same look on the GFS and the European. Here's that upper level low, and then the ridging builds in. on both sides of it and on top of it. As this starts to weaken, um, this ridge is going to move on top and bring extremely warm temperatures to the uh, northern plains. And then here's that first shot of cold air into the east, or cooler air, and then here comes that second one right here, um, that lifts out. And there's our ridge. I'm just gonna make sure on here that if we go over to the ECMW, we can look at this. Okay, so you're not gonna. This only goes on Tropical Tidbits. It only goes out there's a forecast error every 24 hours, so it's not going to be as detailed as we would see with the GFS and the Canadian. But if we take a look, here's our trough. This is going to move down. This is going to back down into Texas. There it is. Here's our ridge, another ridge. Here's our first cold shot or cooler shot into the east, and that stays for the end of this run. It's trying to take in some troughing into the west, as you can see with this dip in the bars, the geopotential height. But temperatures are going to be above average for the most part. So to end this video, I'm expecting above average temperatures for um, the most part of the next 2 weeks for most of the United States, except for Texas, which will be below average. Um, But that is it. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss a new video. I will be posting every day like I have been. Thank you all for watching.